Yes, behind me is the Dortmund wall. Not as impressive in person, you'd have to say. But the stadium itself's all right. The fourth largest, of course, purpose-built football stadium in the world, trailing only the Camp Nou, Wembley Stadium, and the Santiago Bernabeu. Albeit it does have a greatly reduced capacity for this Euros due to the absence of safe standing. Neither of today's two teams, England or the Netherlands, have particularly distinguished records in Euro semi-finals. The Dutch have appeared in 5, lost 4 of them. The one that they won was, of course, Euro 88, where they went on to win the tournament, although the Dutch famously said that the semi-final was their final as they overcame West Germany, before beating the Soviet Union in the final, despite going out on the lash for the next 4 days. England have been in 4 Euros semi-finals, I should say, and they've lost 3 of them, so similarly miserable. And to make matters worse, their one win was at the last Euros against Denmark, where they went on to lose in the final on penalties against Italy. Yes, England have never won the Euros, but, you know, records are there to be broken. These are 2 of world football's perennial Nerly teams, often fancied going into tournaments. The Netherlands have made 3 World Cup finals, haven't won a single one of them, and England have never won the Euros, which, you know, it's not great, is it? I mean, you know, Greece have won it, the USSR won it, the Dutch obviously have won it. Lots of teams that aren't England have won it. But could this be England's year? A lot of people are saying that they're not the best team at the tournament, that they are distinctly unimpressive, that they've fallen asleep at every one of their games. They'd rather shoot themselves than watch another minute of this crap. But progression is the key, and Gareth Southgate has made a semi-final for the 3rd time in 4 tournaments. So that's got to count for something. Here, through the unique power of AI, we are able to see what a post-apocalyptic society might look like. In this scene, a series of nuclear blasts have just ripped their way through the Ruhr region of Germany as people look to flee the radioactive fallout. Startled by the bright white light of the initial blast, they are unable to move quickly enough to escape from the atmospheric death that stalks them with the relentlessness of a scorned 4chan user. Debris litters the streets as one brave man, sporting a high-visibility vest, makes his way towards the blast in the opposite direction to the zombified crowds. He is one of the thousands to have accepted their fate, heading to initial blast zones as part of a so-called death squad of volunteers willing to sacrifice themselves in an effort to try and preserve some of Western Europe. No, not really. It's just fans on their way to the game, but honestly, what a shit tip. They ought to put more bins on the street around major events like this, but that is no excuse for turning Dortmund into the world's largest skip. Hey, alright, none of that. That is not what I meant. Dortmund is a great city. This is over 4 hours before kickoff, by the way, and it would have felt even more apocalyptic if I'd captured the hundreds of riot police that kept rushing past us every couple of minutes. I did manage to get some of their vans.
Oh, that's big time, mate. We're going that way. We're just going that way. England!
I'm starting to think these guys might be following us, to be honest. Everywhere we turn, there just seem to be more brass bands. Willkommen to Germany for perhaps the final, or maybe the penultimate occasion for the semi-final of Euro 2024. The second semi-final, of course, the first of which was won by Spain, 2-1 against France. The Spanish, by far the outstanding team at this Euros, you'd have to say, have already booked their place in the final. But tonight will determine who meets them at the Olympiastadion in Berlin. Will it be England, one-time World Cup winners, zero-time Euro winners, or will it be the Netherlands, zero-time World Cup winners, but one-time Euro winners? Yes, these are the two nearly teams of international football in some respects. Underachievers, some might say, given the talent that they've had over the years. The Netherlands, admittedly, is much smaller than England, but, you know, they've arguably had as good, if not better, players. England have a mixed record, you'd have to say, against the Netherlands. They have won 6 games against them, drawn 9, and lost 7, which doesn't sound too bad until you reflect upon the fact that 4 of the Netherlands' 5 heaviest defeats of all time have come against England, including their heaviest, a 12-2 defeat against England amateurs all the way back in 1907. The last of those 4 heaviest defeats was in 1946. So it would be fair to say that England's recent record against the Netherlands is less impressive. In fact, since beating the Netherlands 4-1 at Euro 96, one of England's most famous tournament wins, they have only beat them once in 9 meetings. So, you know, not great, and that was a friendly in 2018. So the Netherlands have the recent record. It should be said that the Dutch only finished 3rd in their group at this Euros, whereas England won theirs. Yet, you know, you wouldn't necessarily get that impression listening to the vibes. The vibes around here, we are, it's quite quiet considering how close we are to kick-off. We're about half an hour away. And yeah, I think most people would say the Netherlands are favourites, maybe including myself. They haven't been brilliant at this tournament. They were pretty convincing against Romania, won 3-0 in their round of 16 tie. And then they overcame Turkey fairly narrowly, but they had to contend with a pretty vociferous crowd against the Turks, so challenging in a different respect. England, I think, I get the impression, will be quite heavily outnumbered here. England fans travel pretty well, probably about the 4th best supported team at this Euros, 4th or 5th. But the Dutch, I mean, it's in Dortmund, it's on their doorstep, and there's a lot of them. This is supposed to be the England section. There's a lot of orange, that's all I'll say, a lot of orange in the England section. I'm not saying that I'm a complete idiot or anything, but I thought we were half an hour from kick-off, and then I remembered that it kicks off at 9 o'clock, not 8 o'clock. That probably explains why it's not quite as full as I realised, but you know, we move. I should say I am with my dad today. Some of you may recall him from the last set of Euros vlogs, as in the last Euros, Euro 2020 in 2021. I'm also here with my girlfriend, but she is in a different part of the stadium. I had 2 tickets, she was going to come, then Dad swooped in, took her ticket, so she had to buy a different one in a different part of the stadium. We thought when we went in we'd be able to meet up. Turns out it's all boxed off, so she's just on her own. But her seat is far, far better than ours, so swings and roundabouts. You win some and you lose some. The skies have opened once again in Dortmund. This stadium is cursed. God is a Schalke fan, confirmed. Sure, I'm capturing just how severe the downpour is. I can confirm that the leaky bit of the roof at the Westfalen Stadion is still leaking. More as we have it. England team news is out. One change, as expected. Mark Gay comes in, and Ezri Konsa returns to the bench from which he emerged. Maybe some people expected to see Luke Shaw start. Not many, I know. What do you make of the team, Dad?
I forgot who was in it.
One change, Gay in for Konsa. Or do you mean you've forgotten the entire team?
I forgot the entire team on purpose. I would definitely have dropped Trippier.
But who for?
I'm not too bothered about the rest. Pretty much anyone.
Dean Henderson.
Oh, all right, don't get carried
away. Would you say there are more Netherlands fans or England fans in the stadium at this moment?
There's just a complete sea of orange.
To a panorama.
I have never felt so lonely.
Well, I'm with you.
Stadium.
Ash is more lonely. We'll zoom in on my girlfriend. She is. Well, this man's ruined it. Somewhere there. We're about 10 minutes from kickoff. Things are getting real. There are some England fans in the stadium now, which is more reassuring. Dad, predictions? Who's going to make the final? And by what means?
England, 2-0.
2-0. That would be...
I think we've finally got to learn how to play football again.
I was going to say, that would be our most emphatic victory of the entire tournament.
Yeah, well, it's about time.
So we've saved it for... I've been told I'm not allowed to bring any bad vibes to the stadium, so I can't... My head previously said 2-1 to the Netherlands, but obviously I don't believe that. I can't possibly, because that would be bad vibes. So I'm going to say penalties again. I'd be happy to skip straight to penalties. Get this 90 minutes of England football. I've not been enjoying that part too much up to this point. Get that out of the way, forget that. Let's just get straight to penalties. 5 out of 5 again. Happy days. If it went on form, the Netherlands would win. But football doesn't go on form. Otherwise, Switzerland also would have won, and they didn't. Here we go. I've seen this ceremony so many times at this point. I reckon I could be a part of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the players.
We are underway at the Westfalenstadion. It's 1-0 to the Netherlands, and you'd have to say it's an absolute stunner. I mean, it's Declan Rice has lost the ball really poorly, weakly, inside England's own half, but there was still a lot to do, and he did it very well. It's 1-0 to the Netherlands. So it's 1-0. Xavi Simons with a goal. Inside 10 minutes. It's not an ideal start, but you know, we move. England have been behind before in this tournament.
They have a free kick. Jude Bellingham's taken a whack to the head and is required to leave the field of play. Trippier and Foden, the two players stood over it. There's clearly some issue going on with the steward here. So there's clearly some issue going on with the steward here. Someone's brought a hip flask in or so. That's not the concern. Maybe here's the focus. There is the small matter of a free kick coming up. Turned out the steward actually was the more interesting. 15th minute. England have responded reasonably well to going a goal behind. They just had the best chance of the game. Harry Kane blazed it over the crossbar. There was a hint of a penalty shout, but it never seemed to become too animated. Kane has just, as you can see here, returned to his feet. But yeah. Oh, it is a VAR check. There is a VAR check. The referee has been called to the monitor, which usually means get Ivan Toney on. It looks like England might have a penalty. But you never know, the ref might watch it and say no. Rare, but... It's a penalty. England have a penalty. Yeah! Get in! England are on level terms. It's 1-1. Harry Kane from 12 yards. England have reacted very well to going down. Probably the best football. They're on the attack again. Just before I started recording. It's been stopped as 2 balls in. Phil Foden had a ball cleared off the line. I thought it might have crossed the line, but clearly it didn't, as they have technology to determine these things nowadays, and we're not winning, so it can't have crossed the line. But it was pretty close. England are sustaining attacks, moving the ball with a lot more speed, mixing the game up a lot more dynamic. It's been quite good. I mean, we could lose, but it's been quite good so far. There's been about 2 fights already at this stand, so I'm just keeping my head down, but the football side has been pretty positive. We've just passed the half-hour mark, and since I last spoke to you, both teams have hit the post or the crossbar. Most recently, Phil Foden, roughly 9 seconds ago. It was Dumfries for the Netherlands from a corner. England are playing good football, and that is the first time I've said that all Euros. But they do look vulnerable to balls over the very direct Netherlands team, which seems counter to what you might normally think. But yeah, the Dutch look dangerous on the break, especially with a long ball, which seems to be giving Gay and Stones some problems. Whereas England look dangerous. Phil Foden has been way more involved than any other game. As I say, he's almost scored twice. He's demanding the ball in the middle of the pitch. He's just got it right now. Well, actually, he's just left it now, but in the holding midfield position. And it's making a world of difference. England have got an advantage. That one comes to nothing, but they're playing pretty well. To be fair, we've kept progressing whilst playing badly. Maybe playing well means that we're going to go out. It's half-time at the Westfalen and it is 1-1 between England and the Netherlands. England have been pretty good. Yeah, can't complain. Foden's had his best game by a mile. England's attacks have had a lot more flair and invention and creativity. I suppose the negative is that we're drawing and the only goal was a penalty, but Kane's worked the keeper, Foden's hit the post and had one cleared off the line, and then had another good shot that was saved. Are you feeling quite positive after that first half?
I am. I thought we were much better. We were very unlucky not to be winning at the moment. Though, according to your sister, that wasn't a penalty.
It wasn't a penalty. I must say, I haven't seen it back.
I'll just see what happened.
But if I was to temper our enthusiasm, I would say that the Netherlands do look quite dangerous when they do get in our half.
They're quite quick.
Yeah. The second half is just about to restart. Or restart, I don't know. Sounds better, I can restart. 2 subs at half-time. The Netherlands have withdrawn Daniel Malen. I can understand that. They probably had to change something. England seem to be in the ascendancy. They've replaced him with Wout Weghorst, which I also understand, because the long ball and going direct was working for them. And he's a giant of a man. England, meanwhile, have brought Luke Shaw on for Kieran Trippier. I'm assuming there didn't seem to be anything wrong with Trippier. I think that's a case of he thinks the maximum he can get out of Shaw is an hour, I guess, if he goes to extra time. So, you know, that's the substitutions at half-time. Hey! Get him off! Weghorst's first involvement is just to flatten John Stones. Comes in like a freight train. We're in the 54th minute. Not much to report on second half. The Dutch are a lot more compact, sitting a lot deeper, which makes sense because they look vulnerable and their threats on the break. So they're doing a bit better, but they've not posed any threat. It must be said, the Dutch fans, they've brought the colour, they've brought the numbers, they've not brought the noise. Very quiet, probably the quietest I've come across at the tournament. Although I am in the England section, which can distort it somewhat. We have passed the 70th minute mark, and the Netherlands have very much grown into the second half. Ronald Koeman's subs and tactical alterations have worked by and large. I mean, you know, they haven't been amazing or anything, but they look dangerous from set pieces and long balls. They've had the best chance of the half. England have struggled to produce much of note since the restart. I'd say it probably needs a sub 20 minutes from time. There's a few. You'd be tempted to do Kane again as he did last time around. I know it's hard because it's Kane, but you'd be tempted for reasons. Now looks like Foden is down. Phil Foden is down, but England are cracking on with it anyway. But yeah, I think it needs a change. A few have warmed up, but I think it's about time one came on because England need to shift the dynamic of the game somewhat. England have scored a goal, but the assistant's flag is up to signal offside. It will, of course, be checked. You'd imagine he's right, it was on his side, but we can but hope. England are making 2 subs, which indicates to me it's already been checked. Foden coming off. It's Cole Palmer and Ollie Watkins coming on. And Harry Kane and Phil Foden going off. Yeah, more as we have it. It's not a goal. England had the ball in the back of the net, but I think it was offside. It's 2-1 to England. Ollie Watkins with a superb touch and finish. Textbook. I think there have been some people who thought Ivan Toney should have come on. Maybe even me included. I could understand that position. Southgate has always said squad players, they'll have their moments. And Ollie Watkins has just had one hell of a moment. And I've just been covered in beer, so that's always good as well. It's 2-1 England. We're in injury time. I don't know how much of it, do you?
4 minutes.
I haven't seen, 4 or 5 maybe. It is an amazing finish. Honestly, he couldn't have put it more in the corner. It's 2-1. Bobby Mainu is off for Conor Gallagher. And Ezri Konsa's on for Saka. And this place is bouncing. This is what he does!
Oh my God! This is what he does! This is what he flipping does! It's illegal! Alien!
He wins. You look emotional, mate. I'm with you, go on, let it out. He wins that ball so much.
Just been a yellow card to someone in England's technical area. That takes the shine off things a bit. Only 2 minutes. I find that surprising. If I was a Netherlands fan, I wouldn't be very pleased. But I'm not, so. It was Kieran Trippier who got a yellow card in the England technical area. I don't know what he did. England have done it! They're through to their second consecutive Euros final. This time against Spain. Get in. We're going to Berlin. I haven't got a ticket, but I'm hopefully going to Berlin. Fair play to the Dutch. They're still in good spirits. Just to top off the day, or the evening, What an outstanding selection of pastries we have here. If I know my Ash, she's going to be getting herself a pan of chocolat. I think I do. Yeah, I'll have one, sure. Are you fancying any pastries?
Yeah, I'll have a pastry. Yeah.
Right, it's the morning after the night before, and now that the dust has settled, can I just say, absolutely bloody get in. What a goal by Ollie Watkins. You beauty, you bloody beauty. Get in there, son. Back of the net, take a bow, get to work on that statue, and rename Torquay Watkinsgrad. In all seriousness, there are a few talking points. 1. England played well in the first half, when the Netherlands actually tried to commit players and play attacking football against them, making them one of the first teams to do so at this tournament. Second half, they dropped deeper, became more compact and utilised their best weapon, pace and athleticism on the break, particularly when going direct, and, once again, England found that a bit more difficult to contend with. It made for an interesting game, where Gareth Southgate won the initial tactical battle, Ronald Koeman wrestled back control during the break, and Southgate was clearly reluctant to pull the trigger and change things. When he did, however, he made the masterful decision of bringing Ollie Watkins, who hasn't been very involved at this tournament up to this point, on in place of Harry Kane, rather than Ivan Toney, who has come on ahead of Watkins in England's most recent games. He deserves credit for that substitution, and I think for the switch to a back three at this tournament, which was unplanned, but without which I doubt that England would have reached the final. It would be remiss of me not to mention the penalty, which I have now watched back, and pretty clearly, if that went against England, or just whichever team you happen to support, you wouldn't be best pleased about it. I can see the argument that if it's the other way around or anywhere else on the pitch, it is probably given, but the reality is 8 or maybe even 9 times out of 10, you wouldn't see that given. And to call it a clear and obvious error that VAR needs to alert the referee to, well, that would seem like even more of a stretch. In the interest of balance, Ronald Koeman, the Netherlands manager, ought to have seen red in one of the worst decisions that you'll ever see against England in 1994 World Cup qualifying, but the referee bottled it and only gave him a yellow. England only needed a draw in that game to qualify for the World Cup, but Koeman stayed on the pitch and scored one of 2 goals in a 2-0 win for the Netherlands, which ultimately saw England miss out. Look, what I'm saying is that more than 30-year-old justice has finally been done. No, not really. It's just 2 bad decisions now. I hope you all enjoyed the cameo from my dad. After 3 years away from the screen, he did get a kebab, in case any long-term viewers were wondering, and the very distant view of my girlfriend in an entirely different stand. Dad was up at 3:30 for his flight home, but Ash and I are heading to Berlin. The train and hotel have already been booked. It is just a slight shame that I don't have any tickets yet. I've been to every England game at this tournament, so watching them all except for the final would seem to be a bit of a cruel fate, but I'm not paying a tout £3,000 for a ticket. So, if any of you are selling a couple at face value, or just want to put me up in a box out of the sheer goodness of your own heart, well, you know where I am. That is it for today's video, but thank you all very much as ever for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and of course, it goes without saying, make sure that you are subscribed and have notifications turned on not just for this channel, HITC Sevens, but also my second channel, Alfie Potsama, both of which should be about to appear on your screens now, along with a couple of videos that you might fancy watching after this one. And you can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, or Threads via the username at HITC Sevens on all 3, should you wish to do so. And all of those links plus a whole lot more should be down in the video description below. Cheers, and see you all in Berlin.